Dobrý den, dámy a pánové, vážení hosté. Dovolte mi, abych vás přivítal na, řekněme, otevření naší unikátní expozice United by Innovation, expozice Národního centra průmyslu 4.0 a 11 partnerů, kdy my přinášíme unikátní perspektivu pro průmysl, energetiku i služby, perspektivu, která je postavená na využívání technologií průmyslu 4.0. Toto zahájení začneme rozhovory s významnými představiteli právě průmyslu 4.0 a protože zde máme mezinárodního hosta, dovolte mi, abych nyní pokračoval v anglickém jazyce. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Andreas Dick, a member of the board of Škoda Auto, who is the main person responsible for the production in Škoda Auto. Welcome.
Thank you.
I would like to ask you, Mr. Dick, what are actually the major trends in terms of digitization and Industry 4.0 implementation in the industrial practice? What are the major technologies and biggest trends?
I think the biggest trend that we see at the moment is that a lot of technologies coming out of artificial intelligence now finding their way from a more theoretical approach into industrial use cases. And we see this in a very fast speed, and the speed is accelerating. We really have now a lot of use cases coming up where we can really implement these tools of artificial intelligence into our factories, into our production lines. And this is very fascinating to see because it opens up a lot of potentials to increase productivity and this very interesting phase at the moment.
And what are actually the major use cases of using the AI? Is it some kind of algorithms of energetic management? Is it something like prediction algorithms? What do you use in Škoda Auto?
We use a whole range. I think a good example for what's happening at the moment is the use of visual detection systems to check the quality, to check processes. We saw in the last few years enormous decline in the cost of this of the hardware, the software capabilities, the calculating power of the computers are growing. And at the same time, we see a lot of AI applications to analyze pictures, to detect failures, and this is now finding really the way into the factories on a very large scale. But of course, you can use AI for a lot of other use cases. You can use it for the detection of failures of the installation. You can use it for the optimization of logistic processes to optimize the load of trucks, for example. So there is an unlimited amount of use cases. It's a huge field.
I'm actually very interested because you've got plenty of experience from the international field, not just from China, Mexico, and Germany as well. Here from the Czech Republic, and I would like to hear about the comparison. Actually, what do you think, or do you see any differences between implementing and emerging new technologies like AI solutions in the Czech Republic in respect to, for instance, China? What's the main differentiator, and actually what might be also the main differentiator for Europe as a whole?
Yeah, I worked the last few years a lot in China, and the biggest difference is that digitalization in China is, for the whole population, a normal part of their life. I often bring the examples that in China nobody is using cash anymore since several years. Even the beggars on the street have a QR code in front of them because nobody has cash. Yeah, so you can give them some money with your mobile phone. And this leads into a situation that the people are completely used to this digital use cases, to digital applications in their private life. And this makes it much easier to implement these use cases in the work environment. And we have in Europe a different situation. The people are not that adapted into the digital tools, and so it's much harder to convince them to work with these tools in their work environment. And this is something we have to work on. Yeah? We have to bring these digital tools in the normal life of the people, to bring them close to these applications. And this is what we try to do at Škoda, that we really show the people how much fun it is to work with these tools. Yeah? This is really a precondition. If the people are resistant, it will be very, very difficult to bring it into a work environment.
And maybe could you compare even more the situation in Germany and in the Czech Republic? Because in Germany, I know it's kind of sometimes very hard to implement such a digitization tool, like, for instance, bank ID or anything like ID related.
Yeah, in Germany, it's even worse than here. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe could you be a bit more specific about the specific tools of AI, and maybe give us some specific examples of the usage of the AI algorithms used specifically in Škoda in the production plant?
Yeah, I already mentioned some. Also, like the visual detection, that you have cameras that do a visual inspection of a part. For example, if all screws are there, if everything is in the right position. This is a very common use case in the meantime. And what you need to, in combination with the camera, you need AI tools, self-learning systems, self-learning algorithms, which are able to detect if something is okay or not okay. Yeah? For this, you need to train the systems, and this are typical use cases. Yeah? The other thing is already what I already mentioned. For example, in logistics, if you have the part supply, one of the big tasks is really to a very efficient use of the trucks. Yeah, so the trucks are driving from one supplier to the other, and we use, for example, AI tools to optimize these roads. Yeah, that they go to the right supplier at the right time. That the truck has a maximum load, and actually we are saving a lot of money with this kind of tools.
And can you imagine, for instance, the situation, I don't know, in 5 to 10 years, I mean, the ideal, how the digital factory should look like, what's the ideal, where should we go, what might be like the end goal, if there is any?
Yeah, the big vision probably is what people say, like machine builds the machine. Yeah, that you have much less manual labor in the factory. Yeah, that you have much higher automatization. Of course, you still need a lot of very skilled people to operate all this. But I think the installations will be much more independent, and of course in the future we will also see more intelligent cars, yeah, with a different electronic architecture in the cars, which then will be able to communicate with the machines, to tell the machine exactly what the machine needs to do at this specific car. Yeah? Same with autonomous driving. Of course, when the cars are able to drive autonomous on the road, which is not that far away, they of course will drive autonomous within a factory. Yeah? So the factory of the future will be very different from what we see today.
Okay, and last question I would like to very much ask you, because here at the International Engineering Fair there is plenty of suppliers, for instance, of Škoda. Maybe could you give them, and not just the suppliers, but I would say small, medium enterprises in the Czech Republic in general, any recommendation how they should adapt the innovation and how they should digitize, and maybe why?
They should. The strongest recommendation really is everybody should now really to work very hard to bring the AI applications, AI tools in their business, because this is the future. Yeah? The AI will not eliminate work in the future, but it will eliminate everybody who is not working with AI in the future. Yeah? So they really have to go into, they really have to be willing to go in this new digital world, to learn and to adapt, because this will be essential. It will not be possible to do business without in the future.
Perfect. Mr. Dick, thank you very much for sharing your experience and perspective, and wish you pleasant experience.
Thank you very much.